Hey guys, back again here with the second podcast. Today we have Nikki on board with us. Nikki is the sales manager here at Vapor Honing Technologies.
Right.
Nikki, welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
It's good to have you. So really the point today, I think we wanted to talk about, bring someone in with different perspectives. Someone who, I mean, you obviously started here, 2.5 years ago, 3 years?
It's 2 years. It'll be 3 in November
Very
that
cool.
I've been here.
Yeah, it seems like it was, last week when you started?
Yeah. Time goes fast, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I think the cool thing is a lot of people don't really get to see behind the scenes, which is obviously why we're doing this, but
Right.
or know or hear some of the things that's happened to us in the past. But really tell us about like your journey when you came on and kind of where your background was before you started here.
Okay. I'm happy to do that. So I started out in tires. I worked for 11 years in tire wholesales. And there was a buyout. Things ended. And so I needed to find something else. And it just by coincidence, I spoke to someone who knew you guys were starting up a business. She said, "Hey, send me your resume." And I did. And she set me up with an interview with you. I knew nothing about vapor honing, didn't even know what it was, had to research it. Thank God for Google. And went through and came in, met you. Everything was great. Your videos are awesome. That was my training for the whole first year at least, and then hands-on for the rest of the time. But sales was not new to me, but the manufacturing was. And so that was something that I had to learn, a lot of different areas that I wasn't familiar with. I'm used to just placing the order and tires showing up at my customers because, like I said, we were wholesalers. This is one-on-one, direct from the manufacturer to the customer, taking care of them, making sure everything's manufactured and being on troubleshooting kind of side of things. And so
it really shows you a different side, doesn't it? Like
it
when
does.
when you see a product being built.
Oh, yeah.
From raw materials.
Absolutely.
Because I think you and I have talked about this a long time, obviously, about what the customer sees or thinks.
Right.
Because we live in an Amazon world today where, you can go and click 2 seconds later, it ships in 2 days
Right.
or less.
Exactly.
But people don't know what happens before it gets to Amazon's warehouse.
Right.
Or
how Murphy's Law can take place
Right.
every single day.
Right.
It's something you don't expect.
Exactly.
It's going to happen.
That's one of the things I had to help a lot of people understand. You probably remember those conversations. What would I always say? Crap happens.
I was thinking the other word, but yeah, that's true. It does. And it definitely happens when you least expect it.
Right.
And whatever's unforeseen can happen when you just are not looking.
Because, I think we've always had good intention, with obviously delivering on time or shipping people's product when they
Right.
need it. Back in the day, that wasn't a big issue because we hadn't grown to the size that we have today.
Right.
But because we could get it out fairly quickly back then because we were shipping like 20 machines a month,
Right.
which coming from the garage at the house, 20 machines a month was still a heck of a lot.
It was a lot for you to do, yeah.
Yeah, but I think we've had so many hiccups along the way, Obviously, you guys are commission-based as salespeople, so
Right.
we were just talking about this earlier.
Yes,
you
we
have
were.
to get out the door to get paid. But obviously, we want to get stuff out the door faster. And
Right.
one of the things I've been trying to share, I think through some videos and some posting that we've been doing, is to help people understand that we are getting there.
Right.
Like we hear them. But this company has grown to a massive size at this point. But so obviously you've had sales experience. What was the scariest part for you?
Not knowing the product, not knowing the machines, how they work, the technology. That was the biggest thing to me because it was intimidating. First of all, it's something I hadn't worked on. I'm not a gearhead, so learning the mechanics of engines and what goes with what and how it works, and then how this technology can actually benefit those folks who are actually working on engines and restoration and that sort of thing that this is perfect for, was a scary thing because I don't want to mislead anyone. And I definitely want to give the right information. And so having to do my research and make sure that I'm staying on top of and picking your brain every chance I get, down to even what is this part called? How does it work? What does it do? And how does this process save them time and money? So that was the biggest scare for me, is can I absorb everything that you already know using the USB port to download your brain,
Right.
and figure out how to translate that into how we benefit customers and how we can get them the machine that's perfect for what they need and how it's going to advance their business and their profit, their bottom line.
I think the thing that I never want to recreate again, you can remember this, was I was in the middle of a massive renovation project when you came on board. You know, when we had moved the business,
Right.
and I mean that for me was scary because I was trying to train you and a couple other people, and I really didn't have much more bandwidth and energy left. But you come in here and we had some fun days, because I remember walking back through the showroom one time. Remember this, when you were trying to figure out how to connect an air hose
I do.
or disconnect.
Yeah, I was trying to disconnect it, and I couldn't get it to let go. It wouldn't let go, and I couldn't figure it out. And I didn't want to ask anyone and to look like I was just had no idea what I was doing, but I had no idea what I was doing. And then the owner of the company walks through, and the last thing you want to do is admit you don't know what you're doing. And you walked right up to me and said, do you need some help?
I was walking pretty quickly through the plant, and I noticed you over there struggling a little bit. But in all fairness, it wasn't a standard air coupling. Like, this was the push connect stuff,
Right.
which you had never used that or
I
seen
had
it
not.
before.
No. Mm-mm.
And those are some of the many things I take for granted. But that's when I knew, I was like, like if you hang in here and learn, like, you're going to have a shot. Because I was like, you're about as hard-headed and stubborn as I am, I
Well,
think.
I
when
try
it
to
came
be.
that. So,
I try to be, because I want to do a good job, and I want to
Yeah.
take care of the company and the customer as much as possible. And I have to know how to do these things in order to do that. And
Right.
that's something that I didn't want to disturb anyone, but I had to know how to do this and hook this machine up. And that way I can tell my customers from firsthand experience.
right.
And so,
Which you've learned a lot of stuff by yourself,
yeah.
a ton of stuff firsthand.
Yeah.
In the showroom, blasting parts,
Right.
setting
Exactly.
up machines,
Right.
cleaning machines, which I think that's where everybody in this business has like a unique advantage. Everybody that's here today has had to learn a lot of different things on their own, and of course cross train at the same
Right.
time. A lot of manufacturing is just one thing, one job, you go home. But here we do a lot of different things.
Yeah. For sure.
For many different reasons, which we won't discuss, but it makes us a stronger group.
Right.
But so when did you, in your mind, have like a eureka moment and say, hey, this is something, like we have something here? When do you think that was?
Well, I believe actually it was just last year, probably middle of the year, when you put in a nice incentive for me. Before that, I wasn't really sure how I could control what comes in, what goes out, and how our ability in the sales office affects the company. Those things I just never saw before, because the way sales was set up when I was there, it was, it wasn't, I didn't see the direct effect from the manufacturer. So if sales were down, I didn't see how that affected everyone else.
Right.
And when things do get slow, it absolutely directly affects our production crew. It affects our office staff. It affects everyone. And so I take that as a personal responsibility to make sure that doesn't happen. It doesn't affect their paycheck. It doesn't affect their hours that they get because we're not able to sell something.
Right.
And so being able to ask the correct questions for customers, so to know this is the right product for them, to know that we stand behind this product with a lifetime warranty, to show that we are 24/7 here for the customer, and what's going to benefit their business will benefit our staff and our people that work for us and do things for that manufacturing. And I think that is something, again, I never looked at before. It was not obvious to me how that affects
Right.
down the road. It was just, I was in my space and doing my thing, and now that's something that I have to look at the bigger picture. And I don't want anyone to have to resort to not having the work just because I can't make the sale. And so
Right.
that's something that really, I have to know this product. I have to know how it helps, and I have to know the industry that it goes into so that I can create my own economy, but an economy for VHT as well.
Right, because you get to interact with the people that are
Exactly.
affected by that.
Right.
Either
Exactly.
positively or negatively.
Mm-hmm. And I choose positive
Yeah, absolutely.
if at all possible.
Yeah. Well, I
So-
think so. How did you feel last year? We had a breakout year last year.
Right.
The business transformed. The brand exploded.
Mhm.
Sales exploded.
Mhm.
Most people in the world don't really know what happened to VHT last year, but it just completely blew up. Specifically towards the end of the year, everybody started realizing it. But
Right.
did you feel a difference? Did you feel a change?
Oh,
throughout
yeah.
2019.
Yes, I did. And I feel it now. I feel it still continuing to grow, but we have to be more aggressive to make sure that it continues to
Mm-hmm.
grow at leaps and bounds.
Right.
Has to be something new every day, the new content, everything that we're doing in order to educate folks on how this process works and how it benefits them. I credit all that to your videos, YouTube videos, as well as the education that we've put out there. But it's got to continue, and
Yeah.
we've got to find new ways of bringing that attention to educate.
Well, in our processes too, we have to
Right.
change. I mean, I think, we did things the old way
Mhm.
for such a long time,
Right.
and then everything exploded like a bomb in
Mhm.
2019 because it's something we were all pushing for.
Right.
We've pushed harder than any other business in the world. I know
Right.
that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that we have to change. And I think we talk about it every week.
Mhm.
How to step it up. How to deliver on time.
Right.
How to have stock in a product. And it's because you talk to people, right? And
Yeah.
some people are like, "Yeah, I understand. Like you build a product, you manufacture, you build a custom product for me. I'm
Mhm.
willing to wait because I have in the past." But some people
Right.
just don't get that.
Right.
And we're not, I would never ask anybody to get that.
Right.
But I think that there are some times where people have been unreasonable
Mm-hmm.
in the past. I mean, you've experienced them
Oh,
too.
yeah, absolutely.
But for the most part, people are very reasonable.
And I think communication is key.
Mm-hmm.
I think if we see that there's a speed bump in the road, or if there's something that we see that may be causing that delay, the communication is priceless to be able to let customers know that there may be, a delay or something's come up. If not letting them know, then they're not going to be reasonable
Right.
in most cases.
I think the scariest thing for me is how people are so maybe is untrusting a word. Like when you do
Yeah.
free, for example, like when you do free trial part processing, or
Right.
free part processing, people are
Right.
like, "You're going to steal my parts."
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I'm not
Someone
gonna steal
did
your
ask,
parts.
am I going to send them to you and you're
Yeah.
just not going to send them back?
I'm not going to steal your parts. I have no reason to steal your parts. I don't. Sometimes those things are what gets me when you see the daily,
Right.
behind the scenes stuff that people don't see. But, or when people are like, "You just took my money,"
Right. Right.
and that's one thing I want to get out there too. Since you're obviously a sales manager and you're in sales,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people need to understand that as a salesperson, I'm here to sell you something.
Right.
Right. So like when
Exactly.
you call or email, I'm going to sell you something.
Right.
Let's just get that out of the way. Let's have an understanding here,
It's
right?
not a secret. This
Right.
is what we're doing,
And
right?
that's what I hired you to do, sell
That's-
people. So
That's right.
I don't want you to do anything differently.
That's right.
And people shouldn't have any other expectation. Like if you're going
Right.
to call or email us, like expect us to sell you something.
Right.
I
Well, you're
mean-
calling for that purpose, so
Right.
you need
I mean,
to
we're
know
going to sell you something that works,
that's what we're going to do, right?
something that fits,
Mhm.
right? Because everybody's trained enough to know what people need.
That's right.
Some people want things that they don't really need, but you can't tell them that,
Right.
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 I mean, sometimes I've tried, but I guess I'm going to sell it to you if you want it.
You
So
get an E for effort.
yeah, I guess one of the frustrating things looking back at sales is when people don't listen to us
Right.
and they make the wrong move, and then they get frustrated,
Mm-hmm.
because they're maybe pinching a few pennies.
Right.
I mean, everybody in this room's pinched pennies before.
Exactly.
Have you guys pinched pennies?
Oh, yeah.
Sure. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody
I've got one in my
has.
pocket Right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got one in my pocket right now.
He's pinching it
He's
right now.
pinching it.
I mean, so I get the whole pinch and penny part, but
Right.
if it doesn't work for what you're trying to do, then, we're trying to help recommend that,
Right.
and trying to eliminate that pain.
Right. And in the
Um,
same sense, we want you to have the perfect product, not necessarily more than you need,
Right.
but we want it to fit perfectly.
Right.
But if there's an issue, you get your machine and you have some troubleshooting issues that you're not familiar with, you got to call us and ask us.
Correct.
You've got to let us know that there's a problem, because if you don't let us know, then being upset because we didn't fix your problem is not necessarily up to us. We've got to know there's a problem to fix it.
Absolutely. And that's a really good point.
Well, it happens a lot. People say they've
Sure.
had their machine for a year and never even worked on it because the
Yeah.
first time they tried it didn't work out like they thought.
Right.
They never called us and told us there was a problem. And then they feel negatively about it without
Mm-hmm.
giving us the chance to fix it.
Yeah, we go to a trade show and they're like,
Yeah,
this product's horrible. And
Right.
then we start talking to them and they're like, oh, well, I didn't know that's
exactly.
what it's supposed
And all
to
you had to do was one little procedure to
Right.
fix it, and it's not difficult.
And we've never heard from them,
Right,
ever.
Right.
Until that time where they're pissed off at you face to face. And they're like,
right,
this stuff's garbage and never want to use it. And
right,
then you find out that they weren't using it correctly, or they never
Exactly.
had it set up correctly,
Right.
or maybe they've never used it before,
Mhm.
But that's another interesting point. So we talked about the changing dynamic of the business from 2019. What are we expecting, or what are we looking for in 2020? Looking forward to
times 3
times 3
minimum,
Yep.
times 3.
or 10x.
10xing it,
There we go.
absolutely, for sure.
Yep.
Yep,
I
for
mean,
sure.
And we know that we have a lot of challenges to overcome.
Yes.
Right? There's been a lot of negativity in the past about shipping and deadlines.
Right.
Would you say to people that we're working on that actively? What would you say to them?
Oh, our customers, you mean?
Yes.
Just that we're aware
Mm-hmm.
of where we're at in the process. We're going to strive to make sure that we're hitting those goals.
Mm-hmm.
And if for some reason we can't, we're going to communicate that clearly. And just please bear with us. Let us know if there's an issue, especially if someone orders and you have a deadline. You know you have a deadline at the time you order. Please tell us that. Because if I don't ask that question, if you have a deadline, and you don't tell me you have a deadline, and I'm thinking that the quote that we've given you is sufficient,
Right.
and you wait until there's a delay to tell me, oh, well, I was supposed to have it 2 days ago, I need to know that up front if it's a deadline.
Yeah, I mean, we need that communicated.
Right.
I mean, I know that there are manufacturing companies that use our product every day, and they're implementing it into a production line.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, those people need to be priority.
Right.
And I would stress the importance too to people maybe who are watching or waiting on a product. If it's not life or death right now,
Right.
like tell us,
Right.
hey, I would be willing to wait another couple days, over this manufacturer,
Right.
because it's super life or death for me.
Right.
It's a hobby.
Right.
I mean, I get everybody wants it now.
Right.
So that's one thing I'm going to let everybody know, and we just talked about this, but by the 20th
Right.
of this month, our goal is to be caught up with production.
Right.
And most people don't know what that number is, but that's not a that's not a small number.
Right.
We have a lot of product on the books. We have a lot of product to build.
Right.
And that's a massive feat. At the level that we've been growing and the rate we've been selling, which is good for you because you've been selling like crazy, and
Thank
Todd's
you.
been selling like
I
crazy.
think it's great.
Yeah. But we're working on getting caught up.
Right.
And because we've realized for a long time it's been a huge issue. And when I mean caught up, I mean having product in stock.
Right.
We used to make excuses, everybody did, about any and every different thing in the world. I'm not going to name all these excuses. There's
Right.
a million of them.
Right.
But sometimes I was the ringleader of some of the excuses, because the market has changed so much since 2012 and 11 when I got into this, this whole technology. And I truly associate it because Amazon,
Right.
because, we live in that instantaneous world.
Right.
And you can't fault people for it. Because anytime you go buy something, you want it now,
Oh, yeah.
right?
You can have food delivered now that never had been delivered before.
Right.
I just saw a commercial where you can get your contacts by taking a test on your phone at home. You don't even have to go into the doctor's office anymore. You can have an eye exam done online. And so everything is instantaneous. They want it yesterday. And especially when you buy a new toy. Right?
Yep.
Not that you know anything about buying a new toy, but when you buy that toy.
The blue Audi.
I'm talking about the blue Audi, that made me motion sickness. But yes. No, I mean, when you buy, because that's what happens is everyone gets so excited when they pull the trigger to buy this machine. And we do too. We want you to get that product as quickly as we can possibly get it to you. And everyone's anxious to get it, and they want to try it out, and they want to see how they get these awesome results. And we want you to have that too. Yeah. It just sometimes it doesn't go as smoothly as we want it to. And
I would say that we're more frustrated a lot of times than the customer is because we can't get it out fast enough.
Right.
And I don't think the customers truly get that.
Well, we're not allowed to share that.
Right.
You know,
I mean, they don't know how pissed off we are when we're missing deadlines and we're not getting stuff done fast enough.
And the conversation we have after 5 because we're trying to get this done and get it out the door.
And because everybody's on the same page. I mean, everybody's striving to like build faster and build better. And that's another point too. Mm-hmm. Just because you build faster, we're not shipping junk out the door. I've seen so many trolls over the past couple months, but there's nothing quality related.
Right.
It may be that you shipped late or you shipped me something that doesn't work for my job or my needs, which again, they didn't listen to us.
Right.
But
our recommendations.
The quality thing has been huge for us for a long time.
Right.
You know,
and they're still going to be tested. Even if we are behind, they're going to be fully tested. We're going to fix any issues we find during that testing process for that purpose. And so that may take a small delay. But if we're not going to send something that doesn't work or doesn't approve the quality that we're doing.
You know, because we build stuff out of raw materials.
Right.
So you go to the panel building department, and there's a bunch of components back there.
Right.
You know, you're looking at something that's not functional at all.
Right.
You look at a relay. Most people are like, what the heck is a relay? You know, or a simple power supply. Right. But all this stuff has to be put together, and it has to function properly. And so, you know, we're working on getting caught up. We're working on being faster, but we're also still going to keep the same quality. And I've, you know, been unfortunate to have conversations with pissed off people before, which I do because I'm the janitor. But, yeah, I mean, that's one thing I've told people is we're not going to ship junk.
Right.
You know, and I think we've replaced some stuff before.
Oh.
You know? Yeah. I mean, because people were unhappy. And that's another point. Like, if people were unhappy, like, they need to let us know.
Right.
I mean, I'm not here to take somebody's money because I told people in the beginning, like in 2012, before any of you guys were here, you know, people didn't know about the brand, people didn't know about the technology, but I told people, I said, look, I'm not here for the next couple months or for the year. I'm here for the long haul.
Right.
You know, and I'm bringing people on that are here for retirement.
Right.
You know, and people that have, you know, quality in mind and processes in mind. And, you know, so we're not going to go down this horrible negative path where we're not fixing things or we're not putting the right product out there or the correct built product. So, but by the 20th, that's the goal. And it's a huge challenge, but everybody here, you know, every day is like, oh my gosh, like, why can't we get stuff done faster?
Right. But then that means it's all hands on deck too.
Absolutely.
Everyone has to throw in and make sure we get all this done together. We want to do it as a team. We want to make sure we take care of our customers.
Team is the big word.
And that's something we're willing to do.
You know, because speaking for, I think, part of the group, you know, sometimes people are like, people don't feel like there's a team.
Right.
You know, they feel like just because we have these conversations about getting stuff done, they feel like they're being attacked but it's a team thing. I mean, it's a team effort. Everybody knows that, you know, everybody's responsible, you know, for completing that end goal and end product. And that's one thing I wanted to stress, you know, is the team.
Right.
Because there's no way this is done with one person.
Right.
You know, in the beginning when we sold 2 machines in 2012, however many it was, it was not that many. But, you know, nobody knew about the process then either.
Right.
Which that's been the most incredible thing to see. Starting when you came on board, we started to grow a team of people, was how this process has grown
and
transformed. And the results speak for themselves. I mean, the technology speaks for itself.
Right.
You
It
know,
does.
seeing is believing. I mean, we said what, 99% of the time if we get somebody to use it,
Oh, yeah.
they'll-
Absolutely.
they'll close.
Anyone asked to come to the showroom, can I come and see this product? Please do. Bring the nastiest part that you have. Bring that and let's put your hands in there and see what happens.
Right.
Because you're going to get a wow every single time.
Every time.
It's never failed to amaze whoever's using the machine when they come to our shop. Not one time.
Well, I mean, how many times do you put something in the machine and you're like, I don't know what to expect, and then you get this like Christmas time
Every
feeling?
time. Every time. I actually have an oil can right now that I brought in from the barn, and it is black. And I know what I think it might look like,
Right.
but I cannot wait until we get this done because it's going to be beautiful and it's going to look brand new, and it's going to be amazing. And it's just to see the transformation. It's just, there's no words. It's just
Right.
amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It does what it does, and there's nothing else out there in the world. And I believe that. You know, when I started this in 2012, I knew, like, hey, this is the next thing.
Right.
Like, this is the next big thing. And what I think is crazy, too, looking back, is how many copycats are out there today that have copied what we've done. You know, think about the world. The world knows what this is. And we're
Right.
not done yet,
Right.
but the world knows what this is
Right.
because of this now, you know, because of this company.
Right.
And,
And the thing about those copycats is it wouldn't be possible for them to copy us if we hadn't
Right.
started it.
right.
So
How
they're
many of those
welcome.
copycats
They're all
have-
welcome.
Well, think about this too. How many of those copycats were in our plant
Oh, for sure.
stealing ideas?
Yeah.
And those people know who they are. They
Yeah,
know
I
who
just,
they are.
Yeah, I just spoke with somebody the other day who had a buddy who has a machine and he's copying that machine to
Yeah.
build his own. And he actually told us that.
Right.
I'm like, wow, okay.
You know, you can back this up too. Just because you can build it doesn't mean that you know how it works.
Exactly.
You know, that's the biggest thing I've wanted to stress to people for a really long time. And I can honestly say this because I built it in 2012,
Right.
right before nobody else like even knew what the heck this was. And I don't care if you can build it, you have to figure out how it works.
Right.
And you and I know how many abrasives are out there and what each of those do.
Right.
And those are the,
Multiple applications that they go with.
right. And there's so many different pressures, distances, angles. I mean, so many different factors that go into creating a process.
Right.
And you know, the crazy thing is, when you have somebody that copies like your product, and how sickening that is.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
But then how funny it is when you're like, okay, they can copy it, but they can't make it work.
Well, the
You
real
know,
funny
it's
part
just-
is when they break down
Yeah.
and they don't have someone to call to say,
Exactly.
how do I fix this? Or
Right.
how do I get a replacement part? Or how can I upgrade from this machine? Because I need a bigger one now. Now I'm going to have to go build
Right.
another one because I can't upgrade my machine and get full credit
Correct.
to move up.
Yeah.
For my machine to grow with my business, that's
You-
amazing.
You know, because something's going to break.
Right. Exactly.
You know, or something's not going to work out like you anticipated from a process standpoint.
Right.
And you need people to ask those questions.
We've already done the troubleshooting.
Right.
We know where to look and how to start it.
And that's what they're paying for, right?
Right.
I mean, it's not just like a piece of metal or a piece of plastic that does something. Like, you're paying for knowledge,
Exactly.
you know, like many years of knowledge,
Right.
you know?
Right.
I mean, because I think we shared one time like how many hours we each work every week.
Oh, yeah. It's not
And
a little.
no. What was it? I shared with you guys, if you work like 120 or 130 hours a week,
Yeah.
like you've technically worked, what is that, 2 or 3 years?
Yeah,
in 1 year?
exactly. And you've done that in a week.
So you can imagine like how much time.
Yeah.
Because I've been struggling with something this past weekend. You know,
Really?
it's with the part processing.
Right. Right.
There was
Exactly.
ridiculous coating on this part. I mean, this stuff was so thick. I've never seen anything so thick in my life. And it's just ridiculously hard
Yeah.
to remove it, no matter what it is. Dry blast, because I use dry blast.
Yeah.
Wet blast. Chemical removing methods. Like, I don't know what the heck this stuff was, but it was thick.
But what you've added is the benefit of your knowledge.
Yeah.
So when someone calls us and asks us, why can't I remove this coating?
Right.
You're going to know what questions to ask and what
Mm-hmm.
solution you found and how that worked.
Right.
And so it is a knowledge base. It's not just a piece of equipment. This is a process.
Right.
And it's someone who can help you when you need help. And the amount of time and money that you lose when that machine's down, whether you built it or you bought it,
Right.
that cannot be replaced.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you have folks who support you like VHT does for our customers, you call us and ask us and we're able to get you that answer and get you up and running without any kind of time loss.
You know, I wish you're a good like numbers keeper
Yeah.
because you sell things and you keep
Right.
numbers. I wish you could have tracked the money we've lost over the past even 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, from taking care of people,
Oh,
shipping people new machines, shipping people parts.
that's probably a number
I mean,
we don't want to
We
know.
probably don't want to know that.
That would make you sick, I'm sure.
Yeah, but most people don't even know that exists. You know,
No.
They see somebody trying to sell them something.
Right.
Which, going back to that point, we're only going to sell somebody something if it works.
Of course. Yeah.
You know,
Right.
and that's one thing I worked with you on a lot
Mm-hmm.
was let's make sure it works.
Yep.
Because that goes back to the whole basic original philosophy was like you don't want to sell just anybody and everybody the product.
Mm-hmm.
You want to sell it to people that work, to like processes that work,
Right.
companies that are going to use it. Obviously then you want to build the product to
Mhm.
work correctly because
Right.
you can't build a brand or a company around something.
Right.
And I mean, I see junk out there every day. There's garbage. And the sad part is most people don't even know the difference between garbage
Right.
right now,
But that's something we're educating them on.
right.
And the fact that you have the amount of content that we have on our YouTube channel, Instagram, and Facebook, that's not just necessarily to sell the product, it's to educate as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's to help people see if you have an application you're not sure how to process. This goes hand in hand with our equipment. This is what we do with our equipment and how we do it.
Right.
And this is how we benefit.
What's the hardest thing that you've done so far, like during the day? Let me rephrase that. You've built these machines before.
Yes.
How hard is that?
From a chick who doesn't know one end of the other from a piece of tool, it was lots of fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's complex. It really is. And it's knowing the reason why you're
Mhm.
building it a certain way,
Right.
or the operation and how it operates and why it has to be this way in order to operate perfectly. Because just the slightest alteration in how it should be built will make that machine fail
Mhm.
in the testing process. If you don't do everything the way it should be done. And so that's
Mhm.
where you have to be very meticulous and you have to make sure you're doing everything by the books, by the way it should be. It's not just throw it together over the weekend
Yeah.
and expect it to run perfectly on Monday. You've got to be very meticulous
Yeah.
on how you do things.
That was really loud in my ear. That computer went off.
The computer?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear anything.
And why do I hear people?
I hear people too.
Gotcha. So tell us a funny story.
Oh my God.
Like during the whole training phase, tell us a funny story. You know what story I'm talking about because you've told it before.
Which one?
What-
I'm sorry.
When I was telling you to show up at a certain time in the morning, we were
Oh
doing
my
training.
gosh. Yes. So we have this amazing training format
Mhm.
for sales it's a whole process. It's awesome. It's great. But we went down this road together where we first got it and we were all excited about doing it. We're going to be up first thing in the morning. It's going to be every single day. We're showing up 7:00 in the morning. We're going to get this done and do an hour or so of training
Yeah.
before everyone else shows up. And Jonathan's awesome at communication. So I show up and I'm waiting. At this point, I don't have a key yet because I'm still new. And it's like 20 degrees outside and no Jonathan. So I'm watching the training on my phone in my car waiting for my boss to show up to do training. I don't know. It was probably 8:30. I think you showed up, maybe. Oh, yeah. I was going to be late. Really? That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And
Yeah.
you didn't know about it.
I had no clue. Mm-mm. No.
Of course, of all nights, I had to stay up late the night before and
Well,
just
here till midnight
couldn't.
was a good excuse, or 6 o'clock in the morning. I just didn't know that ahead of time. So
Correct. Yeah, you told me, you said, well, it'd have been nice to know. I wouldn't have
Yeah.
shown up so early.
I could have come in 8 or 8:30.
The cool thing was you were like, but I studied my car.
I did. I watched it in my car. I'm here anyway. I might as well train. So
Because this was before we had our offices.
that's right. That's
You know,
right.
where
This is
people
before
had keys.
we were remodeling in
Yeah.
the process.
This
of
was
getting-
before we were actually cool.
That's right.
Right.
Now we're awesome. You wouldn't
Now
even
we're
know.
like-
People who come in the office now have no clue what this looked like before.
Right.
This is not what it looked like
It
before.
looked scary in here, didn't it?
It was like straight out of a horror movie.
Right.
I'm thinking Nightmare on Elm Street.
Right.
Nightmare on Mott Street.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it was
It
not
was pretty
good.
scary.
I'm thinking people were hiding out in these offices at some point,
Oh,
living here
there
or
were
something.
people there. There were squatters.
Yeah, it's scary.
If people don't know, like, they need to look it up or come here. And
Right.
We'll take
Come
them
visit,
a tour.
yeah.
But there were a lot of customers that came here when we were still trying to renovate and get offices, and
Right.
and then I think some of them have come back since, but
Oh,
some
yeah.
haven't. But
Yeah. But the ones that have been blown away.
Right.
How did you guys get this done? 24/7?
24/7.
That's what it was. It was hours that you should not have been working and been awake the next day. But you were. You were in here.
And a lot of people, a lot of good people that pitched in, like you did.
Right.
There's a lot of people that
We
pitched
were
in.
here, yeah.
Like it took this army of people.
Team. It took the team.
Yeah, and now we have about 10. There's 10,000 total square feet of office space,
Mm-hmm. Right.
and we occupy over half of that,
Yep.
and it's super cool.
You could not have paid for offices as nice
No.
as you've gotten with this property
Yeah.
that you've converted.
The funny thing too is what I realized once we did this. And I know we diverted here, but
Mm-hmm.
everybody became more happy. Like they were just happier individuals because we weren't hiding out in the corner of a warehouse trying to stay warm, or because that was something.
You
when
guys
started.
have no clue. Yeah, that was the thing.
You
I
were
came
right.
in dressed from head to toe with scarves and hats and sweatshirts and jackets.
You
That's
were
what-
sitting beside a 12 by 12 bay door.
Yeah.
At one point, answering the phones.
Which moved when the wind blew.
Yeah, and I think you asked me. You said, "Like, can we get some heat or like a way to stop the air coming through the door?"
It was a gust. I'm just saying, it was a gust. I was
Yeah.
freezing. But that's okay. We got through it.
Those were
It builds character.
Yeah,
right?
that was huge. I mean, it was that was a massive accomplishment for us.
Oh, yeah.
But tell us about your. Let's just give a shout out to a customer right now.
Okay.
Tell us so far to date, who is your favorite customer?
Oh, my gosh. You're going to make me piss some people off, aren't you?
What's most memorable to date?
John Solis is the most memorable, and Melissa. Hey guys,
Yep.
thank you for everything. John and I stay in contact all the time. The first conversation I had with John, he told me, "You really don't know what you're doing, do you? Where's John? Why can't I talk to John?" Is what he told me. He wanted to speak to you
Yeah.
because no one had been answering the phone except for you.
Right.
And talk about a shot in the gut. Okay, that totally just blew my confidence right here. I'm trying to BS like I know what I'm doing because that's what you do in sales, right?
Yes,
You make
yeah.
sure that if you don't know it, you get through it. So I'm trying to. And he flat out called me on the carpet and said, "You really don't know what you're talking about." Well, I'm trying. How about you ask me what you need, and I'll get an answer. I'll get in front of Jonathan if whatever I need to do. But he and I have really turned out to have a really good relationship. He's bought now 3 machines from us, and I'm trying to twist his arm into another one. But I've built some really good relationships with a lot of people. And now when I hear a customer say, "Wow, you've answered all of my questions and you really know what you're talking about," that is better than anything. That is the best feeling, to have customers tell me that I've helped them make a decision, or I've helped them with their business, or helped them with their bottom line, or this is going to change their
Right.
lives, or it's just, that is a good feeling. That means that I'm in the right place. I feel like I'm doing the right thing.
Well, because you certainly get a lot of negative stuff. Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, sales is the most dangerous territory in the world. You're dodging landmines and hand grenades every day. 'Cause
Left and
you
right.
and you don't know who they're going to be.
Right.
I mean, you could make that phone call.
You have
or
no
an
warning.
email. Yeah.
Right.
And you don't know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
Because some people are just super rude.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, beyond things that are imaginable.
Sometimes I think they live for it.
Yeah.
But that's okay, because then you get the other customer who
Really
you
excited.
really feel like you've helped and you've benefited, and it makes it worth it.
Right.
That one good conversation can blow the negative out of the water every time. And it just like it's not, everyone's not like that, and we are being beneficial.
But John and Melissa is like, they're like your BFF now because what was it the other week when me and the film guys went down
Right.
to him, you know, and John's shooting you text messages of videos.
On Messenger, he's
Yeah.
sending me a picture of you guys getting back on the plane.
Yeah.
Oh, John, they're going back on their private,
private jet.
He's making a big deal out of it. It's so funny.
Right.
Because he's joking and we're cutting up,
Yeah.
and that's our relationship now. And so it's pretty cool.
Yeah. John, by the way, I got to see that video when I got back. But yeah, I mean, that's the cool thing is you meet some good people,
Right.
a lot of good people. And there's only a few that are just really bad people,
That's true.
you know?
The good outweigh the bad.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And don't be one of those bad people.
Right.
Right.
That's right. If you have a choice,
Let's-
just choose to be good.
Let's just be reasonable. Let's be
Yeah.
understanding.
Right.
Or have a conversation.
Exactly.
I mean, because we can have a conversation.
We can
You know?
partner all day long,
Yeah.
but everyone has to participate in that
Right.
partnership. It can't just be one-sided.
Yeah.
So,
So, yeah. And by the way, John was super disappointed that you weren't there.
yeah, he
If I
told
didn't
me it
tell
wasn't fair I wasn't coming. But he did send me a hat. I got a
He
hat,
did, yep.
and I wear the hat.
He did. So, John, I gave her the gear, by the way. This
Oh, I
morning.
sent him a picture. I sent him a selfie with me in the hat. I sure did, right as soon as you gave it to me.
Yeah.
He sent me a video of you getting on the plane. I feel like that was the least I could do is send him one of the hats.
Talk to us a little bit about the plane experience so far.
Oh my gosh. That's, man. In 1 week,
Mm-hmm.
we had customers that needed our attention.
Mhm.
And so in 1 week, I got to fly on a private jet,
Mm-hmm.
which was beyond my imagination. And then within the end of that week, I got to take a flight, a commercial flight, but first class commercial flight, which was pretty awesome.
And we had food, didn't we?
We had food and
Yeah.
drink and whatever we wanted, and blankets and pillows, and it was awesome. So that's something I've never experienced with any other employment company whatsoever. But that
Yeah.
shows the consideration you have for the customers.
Well, I think a lot of people, too, looking from the outside in, too, need to understand that private jets are tools.
Right.
And this is something when I was, growing up, I didn't see jets as tools. I saw them as like leisure, like fun things.
I think a lot of people see them that way.
And people do, and it's just such a misconception. I mean, we use these airplanes,
Right.
for business.
Well,
And-
we're across the United States. Our
Mhm.
machines are spread out.
Right.
And for us to be able to get to a customer and do some troubleshooting and still get back to take care of business,
Mhm.
that's using our money wisely. That's making the most of our time
Right.
in order to take care of everyone that needs us.
Because our time is so valuable.
Right.
It's one of the things I've learned is time is super valuable.
Right.
First off, we don't get it back. So whatever we do that day, we're not getting that time back.
Right.
And this is something I've tried to stress to a lot of people, which is why I try to work as much as possible in a day, because you're never going to get it again.
Mhm.
But we use these planes to get from point A to point B much
Right.
quicker, And it's super nice when you can go and land 5 minutes from a customer or 10 minutes from a customer,
Right.
and you're not fighting the commercial lines.
Yes.
Because about that time we landed in Texas
Oh,
and we
yeah.
made that trip.
Yeah.
We had to go all the way across like miles of airport.
Mm-hmm. Just to get to the other terminal.
Yeah, and the film guys get to experience that in a couple weeks, but because we're going to Oregon.
A
Yay.
little late, but better than never.
That's right.
Graveyard cars, right?
Yeah,
That's
we're
where you
going.
guys are going?
That's right.
That's awesome. Mark Warman.
Mark
I'm excited.
Warman,
Yep.
Mark Warman in the house.
That's right.
But we're going to go all the way across to Oregon,
That's awesome.
and these guys don't know what to expect.
Well, there's no other, it's very efficient to be able to go to the customer and take
Mhm.
care of business.
Yeah.
And it's not about raising prices on machines, and it's
Right.
not about, just trying to flaunt the fact. It's just to let customers know that we mean business when we want to take care of you.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
we're serious about troubleshooting and taking care of what you need.
I could have never been so happy when I linked up with these pilots and these jets.
Mhm.
because I know that we can help people more. Like
Right.
we can see more people. We can see more people in one day.
Right.
You know, because the companies we work with, some of these companies can't wait,
Yeah,
and some of them don't want to wait.
that's
you
right.
know, and they want to see people now, and so that's why we're doing it. I mean, it's great not to have to wait in lines.
For sure.
But it's also great to get there and back. And, I think it's one thing, like it was a goal of me in this business too, is to be able to get to that level,
Mhm.
and we're not done yet,
Mm-mm.
to get to that level where we can go and take care of people.
Right.
I mean, because we know that everybody else is not. I mean, we hear it every day.
Well, what is that we heard in our training? Be willing to do what no one else is willing
Right.
to do.
Right.
That's what we're looking at doing. We want to be that person,
Well, I think
that company.
Yeah, I mean, I think talking for the company as a whole and all the management team, I mean, we're willing to be unreasonable.
Mhm.
We're willing to do things that are just so far out of the norm,
Right.
which is why you guys come in early or stay late
Mhm.
or work nights and weekends all the time, because we're not going to be reasonable, when
Right.
it comes to people, especially people wanting to pay us too, right?
Right. Yeah.
Because we want to get paid.
That makes it better.
Which that's another little plug. People need to understand this is a business. This is how we get paid. This is how we make money.
That's right.
So we're not here to do like negative, bad things.
Right.
We just
Well,
want
it
to get
doesn't
paid.
benefit us if we can't take care of you.
No.
And it doesn't
No.
benefit us if we can't get the parts out the door, the machine out the door, or troubleshooting. We're not doing ourselves any good to do that.
Right.
So
Well, cool, Nikki. It's good having you on the first podcast.
thank you. I appreciate it.
Your first podcast. I'm looking forward to many more.
Yeah.
And we'll dive into some more stuff.
I'll get more comfortable with it. I promise.
Cool. Well, it's good having you.
right.
Guys, thanks for watching. As always, stay tuned for the next one to come. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube channel.
All right.
Thanks for watching.
All right. Thank you.